Hello and welcome, aspirants. The union budget is out, and if you're gearing up for exams like the UPSC or state services, you know what a mountain of information it can be. But don't you worry. Today, we're going to help you make sense of it all. We'll cut right through the noise and zero in on the key numbers, schemes, and ideas that you absolutely have to know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at this official document and wow, it's just pages and pages of dense jargon and endless figures. For someone studying for the mains, where a single question could be about the philosophy behind the budget, where do you even begin to untangle all this?
That's a great question, and the answer is you start with the why. Before we even touch a single number, you have to get the vision. And this year, it's all wrapped up in this one powerful phrase you see here. This is basically the North Star for every single policy and allocation we're about to talk about. All right, so here's our game plan to make this super simple. First, we'll unpack that core vision. Then, we're going to follow the money. Where does the government's rupee come from, and where does it go? After that, we'll zoom in on the big-ticket initiatives, give the economy a quick health check, and then wrap it all up with a power-packed summary that's perfect for your final revision.
Okay, let's do it. Let's dig into that vision. The budget speech mentions some pretty specific guiding principles. So what are these core ideas? And, for all the aspirants listening, how do you actually use this stuff to frame a great answer in an exam?
So the big word you need to know this year is kartavya, which means duty. And this isn't just a fancy word they threw in for effect. The budget documents actually highlight that this is the first budget prepared from kartavya bhavan. It's a real signal of a change in mindset, framing economic policy not just as a plan, but as a fundamental duty to the nation and its people. And here's what that duty looks like in practice. It's broken down into this three-part strategy. The first duty, pure economics, get growth going and keep it going. The second is all about the people, helping them achieve their dreams by building their skills and capacity. And the third is about fairness, making sure everyone gets a fair shot, which you'll notice ties right back into that sabka saath, sabka vikas philosophy. You can think of these as the three main pillars holding up the entire budget.
Okay, so that's the why, but a vision is just a vision without the money to back it up, right? So let's get practical and look at where the government's cash actually comes from. This anatomy of the rupee is a classic exam topic, so you'll want to pay close attention here.
Right, so for every single rupee the government earns, this chart tells us its story. Now, here's what's really striking. The two biggest slices of the pie, income tax at 21 paise and corporation tax at 18 paise, are both direct taxes. For your analysis, this is a huge point. It suggests the economy is becoming more formal and that more people are paying taxes. Okay, so we know where the money comes from. Now for the other side of the coin. Where does it all go? This is another big one for exams, especially in the mains, where you might have to analyze government priorities just by looking at where they spend their money.
All right, let's follow that rupee out the door. The biggest chunk, a full 22 paise, goes straight to the states as their share of taxes. That's a huge part of our fiscal federalism. But look at the second biggest expense, 20 paise. A fifth of every rupee isn't going to new schools or roads. It's just paying the interest on old debt. This is what we call committed expenditure. And it's a critical point for analysis because it means less money is available for new development.
That's very clear. So moving beyond the routine ins and outs of money, every budget has those big, shiny announcements. Where is the government really focusing its bets for future growth this year? Well, if there's one headline number you need to tattoo on your brain from this budget spending, this is it. We're talking about a massive, massive push on public capital expenditure, or CapEx. Basically, the government is doubling down on building for the future, and the allocation is a staggering 12.2 lakh crore rupees. That number alone is a major takeaway. And look, this isn't just some one-year spending spree. This chart tells the whole story. You can see a clear, sustained trend over several years. For an aspirant, this screams policy priority. The whole idea is that every rupee spent on long-term assets like roads or ports, that's your CapEx, creates a ripple effect in the economy. That's the multiplier effect, a concept you definitely need to be on top of. So all that infrastructure spending is backed by some key policies. Let's run through a few of the big announcements you should know by name. First, there's a new income tax act on the way to simplify things. Second, a big push for research with the Biopharma Shakti initiative. Third, the Khelo India mission is getting a boost to professionalize sports. And finally, a new scheme to upskill 10,000 tourist guides.
Each one is targeting a specific engine of growth.
Okay, that is a ton of spending and investment, which leads to the big question. How are we paying for all this? Let's talk about the nation's financial health and that one term that always comes up in exams, the fiscal deficit. What's the target this year?
Right. This brings us to a really important idea called fiscal consolidation. It sounds complex, but it just means the government is trying to bring down its borrowing over time. And you can see it right here. The fiscal deficit target is set at 4.3% of GDP. Now, it's a small step down from 4.4%, but it's a signal to everyone that fiscal discipline is a priority. This has been super clear. Okay, let's bring it all home. For everyone cramming for their exams right now, can we just get a rapid-fire summary? The absolute must-know facts for that last-minute revision?
You got it. Let's do it. Here are the 5 key facts you need to walk away with. 1. The philosophy is the 3 Kartavyas. 2. The top source of money is income tax at 21%. 3. The top area of spending is the state's share of taxes at 22%. 4. Capital expenditure is a record 12.2 lakh crore. And 5. The fiscal deficit target is 4.3% of GDP. There you go. Those are your go-to facts.
So that's our breakdown, but we want to leave you with one final question to chew on. You know, the kind of thing you might need to tackle in an essay. With such a huge and sustained focus on building infrastructure, how is this strategy really going to shape India's economy over the next 10 years?
That is a big question for sure, and one worth really thinking about. We hope this explainer has given you a solid foundation to build on. For more deep dives just like this, all geared towards your exam prep, make sure you like and subscribe to Sparta IAS. Thanks so much for joining us, and all the best with your studies.